Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a retro review for Texas Chainsaw 3D. This is a movie from 2013. Uh, so as you know, I've been watching a lot of old horror movies, and this was just I've been really on a Texas Chainsaw kick. I watched the 2003 recently. I've also watched Leatherface. We got a review incoming for that. So yeah, all those movies that I'm watching in the same franchise, like I'm doing reviews for that. So look for them on the channel. So as of the recording of this video, we have a 19% from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes, 40% for the audience for this film, and a letterbox average score of 2.0 stars. In this film, decades ago, residents of Newt, Texas long suspected that the Sawyer family was responsible for the disappearances of many people. When their suspicions finally were confirmed, vigilantes torched Sawyer compound and killed every member of the family, or so they thought. Much later, a young woman named Heather learns that she has inherited a Texas property from an unknown relative, and she is unaware of the horrors that await in the mansion's dank cellar. This movie is directed by John Lusenhop, written by Adam Marcus, Deborah Sullivan, and Kirsten Elms, and it stars Alexander Daddario as Heather Miller, Dan Yeg as Leatherface, Trey Songz, which was really interesting to see Trey Songz. I didn't know he had done any films, as Ryan, Scott Eastwood, a young, very young Scott Eastwood as Carl, Tanya Raymond as Nikki, Sean Sipples as Daryl. So yeah, let's get into it. So this film has a runtime of about an hour and 30 minutes or so, which I think I neglected to mention earlier. And it's a bit of a mixed bag. I can see why people give it that low score, but I can also see why there's some people that really love this film. Let me get past the big gripe is that this was done at the time in 2013 when, well, I mean, in the early 2010s and late aughts, that movies were trying to capture or recapture that the 3D stuff, right? I think all the horror franchises did one, all the like Saw did one, Final Destination did one. So of course Texas Chainsaw had to do its own thing. So there's definitely a lot of scenes that really are there only to play up to the 3D aspect of it. Now I heard from my brother that he said he really enjoyed the 3D once he saw it in the theater. I don't remember that. I don't think I watched this in the theater because I definitely haven't seen this film. So one thing I really like is that this is per the beginning sequence. This is a direct sequel to the original Texas Chainsaw, um, the one from the 70s. So you get to see they start off with a cold open of like the ending of the film, just kind of a quick little recap of some of the major highlights in those scenes, right? You get to see the final girl getting away and everything that happens, and then from there it picks up with its own thing. So I think they did a pretty good job, at least in those first opening scenes, recapturing the aesthetic. I forget how colorful the because of the grittiness of the 2003 version, which is the one that I watched the most. I forget how colorful and just like very vividly the 74, I think it's 74, the one from the 70s is, but this one manages to try to capture that. So yeah, as I mentioned in the synopsis, we have a mob. The Sawyers are kind of cornered in their home, and everything goes down from there. So that's where we pick up. We do a time jump, and we meet the character of Heather, played by Alexander Daddario, who this movie just loves to show you how beautiful she is. And I think that was also a big trend back then of like, let's do, let's make sure that our final girl is somebody that looks very good, that the people want to see on screen all the time. So uh, we very quickly move into like the reason to bring him back to Texas, to bring her and the gang back to Texas. They definitely spend no time exploring any of the characters, like rounding them out. But I think that's fine. I don't think you need it, as long as you're on board with the character of Heather. I think that's what's going to drive the movie forward. They really, like I said, they spend zero time. We even have this character of Daryl, who's like this hitchhiker who they pick up on the way to Texas, um, and we really go somewhere that I did not expect for a sequel to the original. So I think there's a lot of fun stuff in this film as far as like there's sequences that just give you that sensation of trying to recapture the magic from the original one, and there's some stuff that just doesn't really work. Of course there are some gory kills because that's what these movies are all about, but then the movie takes a turn into like, let's actually expand on the mythology of this town, and it goes like, we spend probably about a 30-minute sequence where Leatherface is kind of out and about in public. Like he even ends up at a carnival. Like I thought that was a really bold choice. I didn't really think I was gonna like where they were going with it, but once I got into the last 20 minutes of the film, I think they kind of stumbled back into like, okay, this is not too bad. Like it's not a great film. I don't think it's a great film, but I was definitely thoroughly entertained by the end of the movie, even if the middle part of it, it's a little soft. Because like I mentioned, all the characters that are uh, part of the group, like that Heather that she's going with, her, I think she's going with her boyfriend who's Ryan, played by Trey Songz. She's going with her friend Nikki and her boyfriend, who I didn't even, he was on screen so little that I didn't even put into the credits. So yeah, and then like I said, then meet Daryl, this hitchhiker. So it's a very small group that it gets dispatched very quickly. They were really there for the 3D effects. Like that's what they were there for. Like all the stuff that was happening. And then from there, it just really becomes Heather's movie. So I think Alexander Daddario did, as good of a job as she could with the material that she was working with. So, but like I said, it's really fun. It's entertaining. Uh, I think towards the end, I, I love the bold move of this franchise of like, oh, we're gonna keep going with this. There's gonna be more of this. So this is by far not the worst installment in this. Go check out whenever I put drop the Leatherface review from 2017. Go check that out if you want me to really trash one of these movies. Um, I don't like it as much as I like the 2003 version. I think to me that'll always be my favorite, just because of everything that it's the movie, the 2003 version, as I said in my review. It's the movie that kind of brought me into this genre, right? I don't really get into horror, and I know there was a lot of remakes in the 2000s that people don't like, and I should go watch some of the originals, and I have, and I think it's fine. But like, you don't forget the first time you see some of these films and some of these stories, even if they are retellings or reboots or remakes from the past. So the thing that this movie made me want to do the most was go watch the original one. So I might be doing that for the channel as well, because I can't believe, like I said, how much color there was in that world of Texas Chainsaw. So yeah, this is such a fun franchise. I know at the beginning of the month I talked about like getting Paranormal Activity with it, but I took such a detour with this that I think I'm just gonna stay on this Texas Chainsaw um, trip that we're going on. So if you have watched this movie, let me know what you thought about it. Did you watch this in the theater in 3D? I really want to know about that and what that experience was like. And of course, if you're watching this, make sure to go watch all our other videos for some of these retro reviews from horror movies and remakes and stuff that I've been rewatching as we get into the Halloween spirit. So stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps. Make sure to share, like, subscribe, leave us a comment. Stay tuned because we go live most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So, as always, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.